A group of friends, eager to push the limits of their cave diving experience, set their sights on the unexplored sections of Radium Springs Cave. Despite lacking the necessary training and expertise, they were determined to map the unknown passages. The allure of making a name for themselves in the diving community drove their ambition. Murray Anderson, an experienced diver, learned about the cave from a fellow caver and became fascinated by its rumored beauty. Stories of an untouched, visually stunning cavern deep within the cave system fueled his obsession. However, reaching this section was extremely dangerous, requiring precise air management and navigation through treacherous, narrow passages. Removing their tanks and contorting their bodies to squeeze through tight spaces added to the risk. While the potential rewards were high, the dangers were even greater. Ignoring all warnings, Murray and his friend Donald embarked on their ill-fated journey. Radium Springs Cave, located in southwest Georgia, was once known as Blue Springs, until radium was discovered in its waters in 1925. While initially believed to have healing properties, radium exposure is now known to cause severe health issues, including cancer and anemia. Over time, the cave became infamous for its complexity and the peril it posed to divers. Unlike open water diving, cave diving presents unique hazards, such as disorientation, equipment malfunctions, and the potential for getting trapped. The labyrinth-like structure of Radium Springs made it particularly treacherous, requiring careful planning and adherence to strict safety protocols. Divers needed multiple light sources, safety lines, and proper air management techniques to navigate safely. Unfortunately, many, including Murray and Donald, underestimated the cave's dangers. By disregarding critical safety measures and overestimating their abilities, they unknowingly set themselves up for a fatal disaster. By the mid-1950s, Murray and Donald had built a reputation as skilled divers. They enjoyed the adrenaline rush that came with exploring uncharted territories. Despite their experience, they made several critical mistakes before even entering the water. The pair ignored fundamental cave diving safety rules, such as running a continuous safety line from the entrance to mark their exit path. This was especially dangerous given the cave's low visibility and maze-like structure. Additionally, they carried only one light source each, a homemade flashlight with limited battery life. Diving gear in the 1950s was far less advanced than modern equipment, and many divers built their own gear using parts from discarded machinery. This increased the likelihood of equipment failure. Their most reckless decision, however, was their plan to split up inside the cave, doubling their chances of getting lost and reducing the possibility of helping each other in an emergency. As Murray and Donald entered the water, they made their way toward a concealed cave opening 3 feet below the surface. The early moments of the dive were uneventful. The water was remarkably clear, and their flashlights provided ample illumination. They moved cautiously to avoid disturbing the thick layer of sediment lining the cave floor, as any disruption could drastically reduce visibility. The deeper they went, the more complex the cave structure became, with numerous offshoots leading in different directions. About 30 minutes in, Donald began to feel uneasy. A sense of impending danger washed over him, and he decided to turn back. He signaled to Murray, urging him to leave with him, but Murray refused. He hadn't achieved his goal and wanted to push further. Unwilling to argue underwater, Donald reluctantly left his friend behind. It was a fateful decision that sealed Murray's fate. Now alone in the cave, Murray pressed forward into an unexplored side passage. As he moved deeper, he inadvertently disturbed the sediment, causing it to rise and cloud the water. Within seconds, visibility dropped to near zero. His homemade flashlight began to dim, making navigation nearly impossible. Panic set in as he struggled to find his way back to the main passage. Desperately feeling along the cave walls, he realized he was trapped. His breathing became erratic, rapidly depleting his oxygen supply. Without a safety line to guide him, he had no way of knowing which direction led to the exit. He had made a series of poor decisions venturing in alone, failing to use proper equipment, and underestimating the cave's dangers. His situation escalated from bad to deadly within minutes, turning what was meant to be an exciting adventure into a fight for survival. Back on the shore, Donald initially believed Murray was simply taking his time. However, as the minutes stretched into hours, he grew increasingly concerned. Knowing how dangerous cave diving could be, he considered going back in to find his friend. However, he had already used much of his oxygen and was physically exhausted. Instead, he chose the safer option and reported Murray missing. He managed to gather 2 fellow divers from their club, and they launched a rescue mission. However, by the time they reached the cave, it was nighttime. With low visibility and exhausted air supplies, they struggled to navigate the passages. After nearly 2 hours of searching, they had to retreat empty-handed. The realization that they might have swum right past Murray's body without seeing him due to poor water clarity weighed heavily on them, leaving them with a haunting sense of helplessness. When the Navy learned that one of its divers was missing, a team of highly trained specialists was dispatched from Charleston, South Carolina. They arrived the next morning, nearly 20 hours after Murray had disappeared. Dozens of onlookers gathered at the site, hoping for a miracle. The Navy divers entered the cave and found Murray's body within minutes, floating near the ceiling just 200 feet from the entrance. His regulator had fallen from his mouth, and his failed flashlight dangled from his harness. Tragically, his body had likely been there the entire time while his friends searched the day before. The realization that he was so close to safety, yet unable to find his way out, made his death all the more devastating. It was a grim reminder of how quickly things could go wrong in an environment as unforgiving as an underwater cave. Murray's death was a result of several preventable mistakes. First, the decision to begin the dive at noon left little room for error, as rescuers were forced to search in darkness when things went wrong. Second, separating from Donald inside the cave significantly increased his risk. Had they stuck together, Donald may have been able to help guide him back to safety. Finally, failing to use a safety line was perhaps the most critical mistake. In a high-risk cave like Radium Springs, a guideline could have led him directly to the exit, even in zero visibility conditions. His death served as a wake-up call to the diving community, highlighting the importance of following safety protocols. While tragic, his story likely prevented future deaths by emphasizing the need for proper preparation, redundancy in equipment, and never diving alone in unknown cave systems. Murray Anderson's fatal dive became one of the earliest recorded cave diving deaths in the United States. His story reinforced the importance of cave diving safety and led to stricter protocols within the diving community. The tragedy emphasized the dangers of overconfidence and the necessity of proper training. One of the key takeaways from the incident was the importance of always having at least 2 working light sources, maintaining a continuous safety line, and never diving alone. Over the years, these lessons have saved countless lives. Today, Radium Springs Cave is closed to recreational divers, with only highly trained professionals permitted to enter for scientific exploration. While Murray's story ended in disaster, the changes it inspired have helped make cave diving a safer pursuit for future generations. His unfortunate choices serve as a cautionary tale, reminding divers to respect the ocean's depths and the risks they carry. Murray Anderson's tragic fate serves as a haunting reminder of the dangers lurking beneath the surface. Radium Springs Cave may be breathtaking, but it remains unforgiving to those who underestimate its depths. Some risks simply aren't worth taking,